In this video, I'm gonna show you how to play the Uncharted Trilogy games on PC using the PS3 emulator RPCS3. This is an updated version of my original tutorials with the latest updates, and now this single video will cover the setup for all three games with the best settings you can use for stability and performance, and also more detailed instructions on the emulator setup as well. Let's get started. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna get is the emulator itself. The link for this page will be on the description of this video. And this emulator is available on Windows, Linux, and Mac OS, but this tutorial is for Windows PC. So right here on the Windows section, you're gonna click right here where it says download for x64. Go ahead and click on this one and put the file on the desktop of your computer. Also, still here on this page, you're gonna scroll down a little bit, and where it says installing on Windows, you're also going to download Visual C++. This is required in order for the emulator to work. So go ahead and click on this one to download the file and also put it on the same place, the desktop of your PC. Next, we're gonna get 7-zip. This is required for extracting files if you are on Windows 10. But if you are on Windows 11, you can also get this file too, but Windows 11 has its own extracting feature, right? So you can just use that as well. But if you are on Windows 10 on 7-zip, click here on this download button to get the file, and you're also going to drop this on the desktop of your PC. Now on your desktop, you should have all three files with you, right? And we're gonna start by installing VC++. It is this file right here. So go ahead and double click on this file, and this window will open up for you. And there is a chance that you already have VC++ installed on your PC. If you played games on your PC before, actual PC games that is, then there is a good chance that you already have it, which is the case for me right here. It says right here, modify installation. So if this window shows up for you, you don't have to install this. You can go ahead and close this, but if it does not, then you're just gonna keep clicking on next until it is fully installed. Next, we're gonna install 7-zip if you also got this file. And this one is very straightforward. You just have to double click on the 7-zip file and this window will show up. And all you gotta do is just click here on the install button with a few moments, and there you go. It's already installed, so go ahead and click on close. And you should see that both icons are going to look like the one that I have here, which means that 7-zip is working as it should. Now, at this point, you can go ahead and delete VC++ and also 7-zip. We're not gonna need this anymore. You're just gonna need the emulator file itself. So what you're gonna do here on the RPCS3 file, you're gonna click on it with the right button, and then put your mouse on top of 7-zip, and then you're gonna click on extract to and the name of the emulator. That way, all the files will be inside a folder. There you go. You should now have this folder with you, and at this point, you can delete the original zip file. We're not gonna need this anymore. So in here, you can go ahead and rename the folder if you want. I'm just gonna keep mine with the default name. And now, you're going to double click on this folder to open. And as such, you're gonna see all these files right here. And to start the emulator, you just have to double click on the RPCS3 application file. So go ahead and do that, and then it's gonna take you to this window. In here, you can do some stuff like create a desktop shortcut or also change the theme of the emulator. This one is gonna be up to you. Now to move on, turn off the show at startup option and enable the I have read the quick start guide, and then just click on continue. And there you go. Now the emulator will show up for you. This would be a good time to subscribe to the channel and also leave a like on this video. Now the first thing we're gonna do with the emulator is install the firmware, and we can get that on the official Sony website. The link for this page will be on the description of the video. So in here, you're gonna scroll down a little bit and arrive at this section, how to update PS3 system software. So you're gonna click on this option, update using a computer, and then you're gonna see this button showing up for you. For most people, just clicking on this button doesn't work. The download doesn't start for whatever reason. So what you're gonna do here, you're gonna click on this button with the right button of your mouse, and on this option, you're gonna select copy link address. And then you're gonna paste this link on the browser that you are using. So you can go ahead and just right click on this one and select the paste option, or you can just press Ctrl V as well. And now you just have to press enter to start the download. And you're going to download the firmware file to the same emulator folder. Here on my emulator folder, you can see that I have the firmware with me. It is this file, ps3update.pup. So now what you're gonna do, go back to the emulator, click on the first option, file, and then you're gonna select install firmware. It should open the emulator folder by default. So now you just have to double click on the firmware file. In case this file isn't showing up for you, you're gonna go here to the bottom right side of the screen, click on PS3 update, and then you're gonna change this to all files. Then you're gonna see everything and including the firmware as well. So go ahead and double click on this one, and it's gonna take you back to the emulator and install the firmware. It should only take a few seconds, and there you go. Go ahead and click on OK, and now it's going to compile the firmware PPU modules, but this one shouldn't take long. Now to add the games on the emulator, back on the emulator folder, you're gonna see this folder here called games that was already created by the emulator. And this is the location where you're going to drop the game files so the emulator can read them. If you have a copy of these games with you, I'm gonna put the link on the description of a guide on how you can rip them into your PC. If you don't have that, then you're gonna have to sail the 7 seas, right? If you know what I mean. Google is your friend, that sort of thing. But I cannot do that on the video because it's piracy, and if you do that, YouTube will delete the video and strike the channel. So what you're gonna do here is extract the ISO with 7-zip or the extracting feature of Windows 11 if you are on that. And it's very straightforward. I'm gonna do this with the first game, and all you have to do is just right click the ISO, select 7-zip, and then you're gonna select the extract to and the name of the file so that the files will be inside a folder. You can also use the mount option as well, but I'm gonna recommend you to use the 7-zip method for this one. Okay, so I finished doing this for all 3 games, and inside these new folders, you're gonna have files very similar to this one right here. That means you did this right. And at this point, you can delete the original ISO of the games, but I'm gonna recommend you to only do this after you're done watching the video in case something goes wrong and you have to extract these files again, right? So now we can go back on the emulator, and if you had it open while doing all of this, you can just click on this refresh button, and then your games should appear right here. Now, as you can see, these are the vanilla versions of the games. We don't have the updates yet. And these are the same updates that these games have on the PS3, with all the fixes and improvements. And just like it is there, it is a good idea to update your games right here. And there is an easy way to do this on the emulator. Using this tool right here, Rusty PSN, the link will be on the description of the video as well. So what you're gonna do here is locate the latest version available for this, and then you're gonna click on this assets option. And for this tutorial, because we are using Windows, this is the file that you're gonna download right here. So make sure you get this one, click on it, and download to your PC. I'm gonna download this to the same RPCS3 folder so that we keep things organized. Okay, so now on the RPCS3 folder, we have the file right here. This is a zip one, so you're gonna have to extract this. You already know what to do. Right click on the file, select 7-zip, and for this one, you're gonna choose the extract here option because there's just a single file in there. There you go. This is the file, Rusty PSN application. You can go ahead and delete the original zip file right here, and you're gonna have to double click on the Rusty PSN file to open. And there you have it. This is what the program looks like. And before doing anything else, the first thing I'm gonna recommend you to do is to click on this little gear icon to choose the download folder of Rusty PSN. By default, it picks the emulator folder, but what I like to do here is click on the pick folder option, And now just navigate to the emulator folder, and in here I like to right click anywhere on this folder, select the new option and select folder. And you can name this whatever you want, so I'm just gonna call this update. And still here, you're gonna click on this folder and pick the select folder option here on the bottom right side of the screen. Now the download path is going to change. And we're done here, so click on Save Settings. Now to grab the patches of your game, we're gonna need its title serial, and we can get that on the emulator right here. I'm gonna do this for Uncharted 2, but the process is pretty much the same for all the other games as well. So what you're gonna do is right click the game, put your mouse on top of this option, copy info, and then you're gonna click on copy serial. Now go back to Rusty PSN, and you're just gonna paste the code right here by pressing Ctrl V or the right button of your mouse and then select the paste option. Now click on search for updates, and just like that, Rusty PSN will find all the updates for your game. And we're gonna download everything in here, so you can just click on this option on the top, download all. Now just wait until the patches are downloaded. There you go, it's done. Now we're gonna go back to the emulator, and you're gonna click on this file option on the top, and you're gonna select the install packages option. It should open the emulator folder by default. So now you're going to navigate to the folder where you set the patches to be downloaded into. It's this one for me, double click on that. And inside you're gonna see the name of the game and also the serial code. So double click on this one, and inside you're gonna see all the patches. And you can just select everything to be installed at once. Just make sure that they are in order right here. You can see that this is patch number 1, 01, 02, 03, and so on. So just press and hold the left button on your mouse, select the one on the top, and just bring this one down to select everything. Now click on open, and once again, you're gonna see all the patches listed here. Make sure that they are in order so you don't get any errors. And now just click on the install button. Should be pretty quick. Now click on OK. And as you can see, Uncharted 2 is updated. Now do the same thing for the other games. Now we're gonna tweak the emulator settings to give us the best performance and stability in all 3 games, and also activate the game patches. And these settings are different for all 3 games, so I'm just gonna start and show you each one of them in order. So let's start with Drake's Fortune. So on this game, you're gonna right click on it, and then you're gonna select this option, Create Custom Configuration. This window will show up, and on the CPU tab, the only setting you have to change here is SPU block size. Click on this one and select the Mega option. Now head over to the GPU tab, and the only setting you have to change here is this one. You're gonna activate the right color buffers option. You can also go ahead and change the anisotropic filter to 16x. This one will make the game look a bit better, and it has minimal impact on performance. And on the emulator, by default, these games run on the native resolution, that is 720p. But if you want to increase the resolution to make the game look better, you're gonna use the resolution scale option right here. Keep the default one at the recommended 720p and increase it through here. But be aware that increasing the resolution will require more of your GPU. And all 3 games are very demanding on the GPU. So what I'm gonna recommend you to do here is just play the game at 100% and see how the performance is. And if you want, you can come back here and increase this one further. Now click on the Advanced tab, and in here you're gonna activate the right depth buffers option. And for RSX FIFO accuracy, you're gonna change this one to atomic. Now this part is optional, but I'm also gonna recommend you to go here on the emulator tab, and you're gonna disable the shader compilation hint and PPU compilation hint. They can be annoying because when the emulator is doing one of these, you're gonna get a notification on the bottom of your screen, and that can be annoying for your gaming experience. Now with this done, click on Apply and then Save Custom Configuration. But we're not done with this game. You're gonna right click on it once again, but this time you're gonna select the Manage Game Patches option. This window will show up, and when you boot this for the first time, you're gonna see an option here telling you that the emulator has found the latest patches for that game. So go ahead and click on yes, and then you're gonna double click on the game, select the version that says 1.10, and then you're gonna see the patches. And the ones you wanna have enabled here are Disable Depth of Field, Disable Dynamic Lighting, Motion Blur, Unlock FPS, and the WCB Performance. These are the ones that are gonna affect the performance and stability of this game. But you can also activate infinite ammo and health. These are cheats, as you can see, so this one is gonna be up to you. Now click on Apply and then Save. Now we're gonna do the same thing for Uncharted 2. Right click on the game, select Create Custom Configuration. On this game, you don't have to change anything on the CPU tab, so go ahead and click on GPU. In here, make sure that the anisotropic filter is set to auto. Don't change this one. Now on additional settings, click on Right Color Buffers, Multi-Thread RSX, and Texture Streaming. Now click on the Advanced tab, and in here, you're gonna click on Accurate RSX Reservation Access. On GPU, click on Read Depth Buffers, and for FIFO accuracy, click on Fast and set this to Atomic. And just like in the first game, click on the Emulator tab and disable Show Shader Compilation and PPU Compilation. That's it. Now click on Apply and then Save Custom Configuration. Now let's activate the game patches. Right-click the game and select Manage Game Patches again. Same process as before. Click on the arrow, select the one that says 1.09, and for this game, the patches you want to have is 60 FPS. Click on every option starting from Disable Depth of Field all the way to Enable GPU Lighting. So click on each one of these. You can also click on the Skip Intro option as well, so that it skips the intro cutscenes of this game, the Naughty Dog logo, PlayStation, and all that stuff. Finally, click on Apply and then Save. Now there's only Uncharted 3 left, so do the thing again. Right-click on the game, select Create Custom Configuration. For this one, you don't have to change anything on CPU, so go ahead and move to the GPU tab. In here, you're gonna change the Z-Call accuracy option to Relaxed. Now for additional settings, click on Right Color Buffers, Multi-Thread RSX, and Texture Streaming. Now move over to the Advanced options, and in here, click on Accurate RSX Reservation, Read Color Buffers, Handle RSX Memory. This one is only useful if you're playing the game without the patches, but you can go ahead and turn this on as well. FIFO accuracy, also change this to Atomic. And lastly, head over to Emulator and disable Shader Compilation and PPU Compilation Hint. That's it. Now hit Apply and then Save. Now we're gonna do the game patches. Right-click the game, Manage Game Patches. For this one, you should see two options, but this is the one you're gonna get. Just the game, not the preview. Make sure you click on the one with the patches. And for this game, you're gonna turn on the Depth Border Fix, disable Bloom, disable Depth of Field, and all these options here all the way to GPU Lighting. So click on each one of them. Now select Performance WCB, the Skip Intro option for faster startups, and also the Unlock FPS. There you go. Make sure that it's exactly like this. Now hit the Apply button and then Save. Now it's time to configure your controller, and on the emulator you can play with a keyboard or also a controller. So what you're gonna do here is click on this pads icon to bring up this window. And like I said, you can play with the keyboard and controllers, and this emulator supports pretty much all the controllers out there from PlayStation and Xbox, and even third-party controllers as well. And the emulator has a automatic mapping feature, which means that you just have to select the controller you're using and the emulator will do the mapping configuration for you. If you are using a DualShock 3, 4, or DualSense, it's self-explanatory. You just have to click on the name right here. But if you're using a Xbox controller or a third-party controller, There are two options you can pick here, X input or SDL. From my experience, the X input option works best here. In my case, I'm using a Xbox controller, so this is the option I'm gonna get here. So if you don't have your controller plugged in, go ahead and do that right now, and then select the option. And just like that, you should see the name of the device you're using and all the configurations already done by the emulator. And if you want to change individual buttons, you just have to click on the button you want to change and then press the button on the controller that you want to set this to. And when you're done, click on save and we are ready to start the games. So I'm gonna do this with Uncharted 2, so just double click on the game. And on the emulator, when you start the game for the first time, it's going to compile these PPU modules. But this one shouldn't take long. It's going to depend on how good your CPU is. But for the Uncharted games, they usually don't take that long. And you only have to do this for the first time you start the game. And finally, the game should start. And to go full screen, you can press Alt and Enter on your keyboard, or you can double click the screen as well. I have many emulation tutorial videos like this on the channel, so if you like what you saw, don't forget to check out my other stuff, subscribe to the channel, and also leave a like on this video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon.